Well, we have a great guest. It is a book that I have really, really enjoyed. It is called The GOP's Lost Decade by Jim Renacci, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the stuff in the book and his story, get to know him and his journey from businessman to Congress, and really, really is interesting. And hopefully there's a lot of different lessons to be taken here, some words of wisdom and some things that he was told we can learn, and I hope you do enjoy our time with Jim. Thank you so much for fitting us in, Mr. Renacci.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, before we get too much into the book and stuff like that, give everybody a general overview of your background, like even how you, before you even got into business, like where you grew up and those kinds of things. What was your background in?
Sure. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, the son of a railroad worker. My mother was a nurse. We struggled, but those were really the basis of my values that got me to really where I am today, where I said living the American dream, because my parents always told me that if you work hard and do the right things, anything's possible in this great country. And I was one that was able to do that. I started my first business right out of college with just a couple $100 in a bank, went from one business to over 60 businesses, created over 1,500 jobs, employed over 3,000 people before I entered Congress. And a lot of people wonder why I went to Congress. It was because one of my businesses, a car dealership, was taken away from me by the federal government. And I really thought that government had overreached and stretched too far. And I realized that any time the government can take something away from you, they have really gone further than I believe our forefathers wanted. And that's why I ran for Congress, spent a few years there, and then I wrote the book.
And that's definitely the essence of the book and the journey in the book. And Jim, one of the things I would ask you to share is, what would be one of your sort of take-home business tips from that journey of going from a young kid with a dream, a few $100s, and now suddenly you're creating business upon business in different type of industries and that kind of thing? What's one of the big foundational things that you definitely would recommend to people?
Well, I've said all along when I was in business that if you do the right thing, bring the right people around you, give everybody the vision of what you're trying to do, but also give them an opportunity to be part of it, you can be successful. It's one of the failures in Congress, because that's one of the things we don't do in Washington that I did in the business world. And I think if you take a look at businessmen and women all across the country, those that start with an idea, bring people together, let others have opportunities to work with them, can be very successful starting out with very little.
When you reflect on those businesses at all, was there really one sort of favorite or one thing that you just, if I had to pick one, that's the one I would love to just do and hunker down, and that'd be my thing?
Well, look, I did everything from construction to nursing homes to development, but I also did golf courses and Harley dealerships and Chevy dealerships. But one of my businesses, of course, was the Arena Football League and the minor league baseball team. And I really did enjoy sports. I grew up in a world where sports was, part of growing up. I played baseball, played basketball, so I learned the basis of teamwork. And I really enjoyed when I was part of the Arena Football League, because at that point in time, we were trying to grow a league that we thought could be compete with many of the major sports leagues. In fact, ESPN said we would be the 5th major sports league. Now, we didn't end up getting there because of the recession in 2006 and 7 that really, hit the league hard. But it was a great experience for me, and I always said that was the most fun I had in business, most enjoyable time.